sure.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, did I not give you one? I'm so sorry.
Not this
No. Perfect.
We were good. Oh, man. Oh, I was in turn. You had 17? Okay. Okay. Hey, that's where you hit. Was that was tough. So you shot, I said.
Yeah, of course. In the third round of the UCU West Coast Conference Men's Basketball Championships, the San Diego Toreros defeat the BYU Cougars 80-57. With the victory, San Diego becomes the 4th 7 seed to advance to the WCC semifinals. They will take on 2nd seed St. Mary's on Monday at 8:30 p.m. We're joined by USD head coach Sam Scholl, along with student athletes Isaiah Pinheiro and Finn Sullivan. Coach, as always, we'd like to begin with you. An opening statement on the win.
I appreciate it. And this is a lot of fun to be a part of right now, to watch these guys play. And the determination that they're showing on a possession by possession, being the aggressors right when the moment the ball is tipped, and then how they're playing for each other is a really special thing to see. Because they're an unbelievable group of guys that are super connected, high character, and it's amazing. A little over a week ago, we sat in the locker room up in Provo after they beat us pretty good, and instantly these guys said, "Hey, no, all right, here's our track. Day by day, we're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep playing for each other, keep being connected, and be really determined." And it's a lot of fun to see, and especially the way they're defending is awesome, because that's our identity of our program, and the way they're coming out and establishing themselves defensively right off the get-go is pretty special.
Thanks, Coach. We'll take questions from media members. If you got one, please raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Let us know your name and affiliation. We'd like to start with questions for student athletes first, please. John.
John Crumpacker, West Coast Conference Sports, for Isaiah. At any point out there, mainly the late first half, early second, were you surprised at how big your lead was growing on each possession? Was that or were you just in the moment and just playing?
Yeah, no, we were in the moment. I mean, we were just focused on getting stops. We weren't really focused on our offense. We knew we were going to get good looks, but we just had to keep the lead. When we played them at home, we were up, I think, 16 or 24 at home and lost in overtime. So we knew that we couldn't let up at all. So we were just focusing on defense.
Go to Spencer and then behind.
Spencer McLaughlin, KSU. Coach Scholl, this is the second day in a row now that you've watched your team not allow a point for the first 6 or 7 minutes of the game. What are you seeing from your team defensively that's been so rock solid and so effective each of the last 2 nights?
Just, again, going back to what I said, just a fierce determination and understanding that to win games in March, you've got to be really good defensively. And they understand that and know that our identity to win games is through the defensive end, and throughout the season when we've had those, we had good moments that way and we have it. And I think the great thing is that our guys have learned. We hit the reset button on Monday, and when we did that, we talked about the fact that, all right, all the lessons we learned through the good, the bad, we got to take it all in, and then now we got to go out and execute it. And so I think they just have a great understanding right now of how important our defensive effort is each and every game.
Brian Shapiro, the Vegas Take. Isaiah, if somebody told you before this game that you would have just as many points as the entire BYU team deep into the second half, would you have believed it?
Probably not. I mean, because, TJ Haws and Yoli Childs, they can really score the ball. But, Isaiah Wright did a tremendous job on TJ, and then our bigs with Squirrel and Alex, they did a tremendous job on Yoli, just keeping him frustrated, not giving him anything easy. And then on offense, just getting good looks.
Other questions for the Toreros? We'll come here to Adam on our second row on our right.
First,
First of all, for Isaiah, were you roasting Finn a little bit for 17 points when you walked up there when you saw the stat sheet?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Were you roasting him a little bit for 17 points when you stepped up there?
Oh no, I didn't know he scored that much, so I was surprised. But no, he played phenomenal tonight. He played really good. He stepped up.
Yeah, please somebody have a question for the young fellow over here. This is a big moment for this guy. So
First time in front of the media.
Yeah, so please, let's at least give him one, man. My plan for the young fella is he's involved with a lot of these over his 4 years. So if please somebody could just ask him a question. I want to see how he does. He played a heck of a game. He always steps up in the moment. So I want to see if he can step up in this moment. So please somebody ask him a question.
Finn, did you know you had 17 points as the game was progressing?
No, I was just trying to win the game, possession by possession.
Thank you. Thank you. I like it. Thank you.
John?
I'll have another question for Finn.
Awesome.
Both your team and Pepperdine, playing their third game in 3 days, beat teams that were coming in supposedly fresh. What does that say specifically about your team that you keep summoning up the will? And
I mean, I think just having that, like, just going into each game knowing that we've already played on the court. I mean, we had a tournament here earlier in the year too, and we just kind of use that as an advantage almost, just because we've been here before and they only have a certain amount of time while we've played 3 games on this court now and a tournament.
Got time for maybe 2 more if they're out there? We'll go to Will.
Will Moppin, Mid-Major Madness. For Isaiah, this is a senior-laden team. Looks to me like you're playing as well as you guys have. Is this the most connected that this group has been since you've been there?
Yeah, I can honestly say that. We don't want to stop playing for each other. We don't want our season to end right now, and so, I mean, we're doing whatever we can to keep our season going right now. From last Monday, that was our mindset, that we knew it was going to be a grind and we had to take our play up another level. And so we're really connected right now.
Last question, John?
yeah, Sam, what's your schedule for these guys tomorrow?
Well, we just talked about in there how we earned our day off. So this is, the way the format of the tournament is, I think it's outstanding. I really do. I mean, of course, I'm sitting there saying that if we won 3, but I mean, we got through, and then we get a day off and get a great chance to refresh and recharge and get focused on a very good St. Mary's team that's had our number for a while. And I know these guys are going to be very determined in their preparation and in making sure they're taking care of their bodies. And so it's going to be a fun 48 hours to get ready, or less than 48 hours, to get ready for a great challenge against a very well-coached and talented St. Mary's team.
We're going to the movies.
Congratulations. We'll see you Monday night.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you. Nice work. You bet. Congratulations. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, we'll just need when they're about to come in. Joining us now from the BYU Cougars, head coach Dave Rose, along with student athlete Luke Worthington. Coach, an opening statement from you on the game, please.
Well, first off, congratulations to Sam and his team. I mean, that was a group of really, determined together group. This time of year, it's actually, as a spectator, it's pretty fun to watch a group of seniors that don't want their season to end, and that's what Sam's got going right now. And they played terrific and deserve to win, and wish them the best of luck going further. As far as our performance is concerned, I think that we got off to a tough start on both sides. Defensively, we had a hard time corralling them, and they made they had some open shots, but I think defensively we contested quite a few shots, and they just were ready to roll. And offensively, you get off to a 13-0 start, and that's a pretty good advantage for your confidence. Offensively, our game plan was to take that thing and drive it. And the first 3 shots we found out there were 3-point shots, and they all missed. And so we tried to get the ball, in the post, and we just I don't know the number, probably the first 6 or 7 shots, we didn't score, and we got our heads down. It's something that our team had issues with early in the year. But I really thought we grew through that, and we continued to compete even in our offensive slumps. But tonight they just, were a lot better than we were. So wish them the very best, and take questions, I guess, Jeff.
Thank you. We'll take questions from media members. Please raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you. Let us know your name and affiliation. And we can start with John here in the second row.
John Crumpacker, West Coast Conference Sports. To Luke, as you were sitting on the bench and then once you got into the game, were you having a hard time believing, the scores that kept getting bigger and bigger for San Diego? Was that something you were aware of, or were you just in the moment too much?
No, you're definitely aware. The scoreboard's pretty big. Coach said it right. They're a great team. Led by seniors who are determined to play their hardest, and again, just did not get off to the start that we wanted. They were on attack and kind of stayed that way for longer than it should have. Got up big and got to a point where it was just a little too much to overcome. We've had our fair share of comebacks this season from big deficits, but San Diego really threw it all out there tonight, and credit to them for the way they played.
Go to Adam here on our right in the second row.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review Journal. Coach, I know the format is designed to allow teams that had a better season to get buys, but do you think it has anything to do with a team settling in and then you playing them that, you get the slow start?
Well, it's hard to say. I think that when you look at the seeded teams, they've all lost to this point. And so the teams that played the first night, those winners have been able to move through it. In this case, individual case, I think it proves that the regular season schedule doesn't seed the teams properly. This wasn't a 7th seeded team. They played the top 4 teams twice, and some of the other seeded teams didn't play that because of the unbalanced schedule. Probably more. San Diego's good. And then you take the injuries that they had during the year, which caused a few losses. But our staff, we were pretty convinced that this was, not a 7th seeded team as far as their ability to come in here and win games.
Other questions for BYU? Darnell?
Darnell Dixon, the Daily Herald. Dave, you can't predict these things, obviously, but did you have any inkling at all that your team wasn't going to be ready for this challenge tonight?
Not at all. No, our guys, we practiced well, we prepared well. I think that, yesterday's practice, our shoot around today, our guys were on it. Guys were ready. it's hard to execute your game plan and to stay competitive when you're a shooting team and you shoot the percentage that we did. It's just hard. I mean, you got to keep guarding and you got to keep finding ways to compete. But when you don't score, that's a part of this game that's pretty important. And I don't know how many threes we missed till we made our first one, but 1 for 17 from the three-point line is going to be hard, to beat any team. And going back to your question, I mean, the fact that you don't shoot in the gym that you're playing for when it's all on the line, your whole season for what every team wants to do is make it to the NCAA tournament. Everyone's got a chance. And you come to the arena that you're going to play in and you don't shoot. And then you have the second game and you get 20 minutes. Someone's got to reevaluate this. There's too much on the line.
Adam?
Well,
that's just my own opinion.
Coach, can you talk about the job Sam has done, taking over obviously a difficult situation where that's probably not the way he wanted to get a job, but what he's done this year with them?
Well, it started last year right here. We played him last year in the tournament right here, and he had his guys ready, and they were rolling, and it was a tough competitive game. I think we won, 2 or 3 possessions, something like that. And he's been through it. I mean, you take a guy in your first year, you wait your whole life to get your first head coaching job, and he's got a good group of guys. He kept them all together, kept them all there through the coaching change, and then, had a tremendous preseason, beat a couple Power 5 conference teams, and then he dealt with injuries. And one of the most frustrating things for any head coach, even experienced 20, 30-year head coaches, is trying to deal with injuries. And he dealt with it 3 different times with starters. And that's hard. And he kept the whole thing together and went through some, tough last couple of weeks as far as trying to win games was concerned. The schedule was really stacked on the back end against him. And these guys are playing as well as probably anybody in the country as far as a group of guys sharing the ball, defending the rim, defending the perimeter, making, tough shots. And St. Mary's got their hands full.
Jay?
Dave, if you guys don't get a NIT bid, will your season be over, or will you go to one of these other tournaments that exist?
Obviously, we need to talk to our administration and see what they feel. We've never had that conversation because we've always felt like, we'd compete for one of those 2 postseason tournaments, but we'll see.
Any other questions for BYU? Thank you, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.